Okay, you know, we are here to honor a very valuable citizen of Butler County. One of the most wonderful endeavors that ever came to Butler County was Dr. Richard T.C. Juan. And that was a great thing. First of all, I would like to introduce to you Morgantown Mayor Linda Cowan.
I was wondering, what I was going to say because I didn't have time to jot anything down today. Well, Mama Cowan worked for the Juans. She kept house, and she just thought the world of the Juans and the children. And so we all were in contact with Dr. Juan and his family from the very beginning. So there were some good memories. I can't imagine the babies, Dr. Juan, that you have been through. But I looked on this form and I saw the old family doctor here. And at one point, I can remember when Bobby lost his sister Sherry, and Mama Cam was so saddened and just couldn't hardly get by that night. It was late at night. We called Dr. Juan. Dr. Juan came over with his bag, and he stayed with Mama Cam and comforted the family. So he was something like this old family doctor, and that he did make house calls. I'm sure he made other house calls to other families. Been a big thing to have him in our community. One of the best things I can think of is that he has stayed here with us. He has lived in Morgantown and been with us. And so I've really appreciated that fact. A lot of them go to the big cities and travel back, but you did vice versa. And we sure appreciate that. So I won't keep on talking because I know all these folks have a lot of good things to say, but those are my memories, and we do want to honor you with that. Thank you.
All right, there's a very important thing that I didn't mention when we got started. This entire event was pretty much gotten together by Peggy Embry. And Peggy was with Dr. Juan for 15 years, and I know man is not the appropriate term, but she was his right-hand man for 15 years, Peggy Embry. All right, next of all, I'd like to introduce Butler County's Judge Executive, David Fields.
I want to thank you for the opportunity of being here. And I've got a couple of things I want to say. One is a county judge, and the other on a personal matter, because we're going to have a lot of Dr. Juan stories tonight. One of the things, Dr. Juan, that you done for us that we could never repay you for was my granddaughter, Ashton. And when she was about 20 years and a half, 2 years old, she developed, she'd have attacks and get very sick, and the problem of it was they wouldn't last. I mean, they would be like 2 or 3 months apart. And so I think at that time she was under a pediatrician, and so they would take her. Ended up, I think we took her to Louisville, took her to Nashville, and Dr. Juan said, he said, I will stay with it until I get it. And with Dr. Juan's help, went through an operation, and you see where she's at now. She's in medical school now. So I may have had a contributing factor on her being a doctor. I don't know. But anyway, it's something, Dr. Juan, that we can never repay you for. As a county judge, one of the things that, and how great Dr. Juan has been, but just think of how many people that he's employed over this 48 years. And part of them is done retired, part of them still with you. But a great part of our county, and a lot of young people, is went on and still in medical professions. So we always want to thank you for that. Like I say, Dr. Juan, we have a lot of people that wants to talk tonight, but I want to present you with something, and this is from all of our county officials. And it just simply says that we thank you for 48 years of service. And I think that says it all, folks. And I'm going to turn this back over to you, Dr. Juan. And the people of Butler County and all of our county officials, we thank you for your service to Butler County.
Thank you very much.
All right, then I want to introduce to you our state representative from this wonderful county, C.B. Embry.
I'm greatly honored to be part of this event honoring our friend Dr. Juan. The thing that impresses me the most is that he has dedicated his life to serve the citizens of this area, improving their health care, saving lives. He's dedicated his life to doing that. We owe him a tremendous hand of gratitude for this dedication that he has done. Commemorating that, I've had the Kentucky House of Representatives issue a legislative citation honoring Dr. Juan and mentioning his 48 years of service to this community. This is signed by the Speaker of the House and myself, and this will be a permanent record at our state capitol of your great service to this community. And at this time, I'd like to present that to you, Dr. Juan.
All right, at this time, Julia Geringer, Dr. Juan, I did say it right, didn't I? You did. Yes. I did, all right. Well, I'm on track tonight then. Would like to speak to us at this time, is that right? That is wrong. She doesn't want, all right. Whoever in the Geringer family wants to perform, come ahead and do it. We welcome you. What beautiful people they are.
Love me tender, love me true, all my dreams fulfill. For my darling, I love you, and I always will. All right.
Claire Matthews is the Butler County Head Start Director, and she's coming up here at this time. Let's have a nice hand for Clara Matthews.
About 5 years ago, the director of Head Start called me and asked me to come into her office. Well, I went in there thinking that I was going to get the job for director or for the manager of Head Start in Simpson County. I got there and she said, I have good news and I have bad news. The bad news was that I wasn't going to be the manager of Head Start in Simpson County. And that's where I've been teaching for a while. So I really wanted to do that. The good news, she said, was there was an opening in Butler County. And I said, where in the world is Butler County? So she told me, I knew Joyce, and she had told me, a little bit about it. She said, go pray with your husband about it, but I need an answer tomorrow. So I went home, and my husband and I did pray about it. And we said, why not? Why not? And sometimes you take a step, and you really don't know if it's the right thing that you're supposed to do or not. but God honors it. And oh, did He honor it. Joyce McKinney had laid the foundation here, and let me tell you, I've worked in several counties, and never have I ever worked in a county like Butler County, where Head Start gets the support from the county like this Head Start does. You all are awesome. I would never want to end my career anywhere else. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. One of the first people that I met when I first came here was Dr. Juan. And around October, the end of October, the 1st of November, Cindy calls. How many kids you got? And how many boys, how many girls? And Dr. Juan, for many, many years, 25, 30 years, don't even know, a lot of years, has provided Santa Claus and lots of toys for the Head Start kids. Now, Dr. Juan, I have two things for you. I do not have a certificate. I have an application for the foster grandparent program. We need you. Let me tell you, when he walks in to our school, the kids immediately start running and saying, Dr. Juan, Dr. Juan. And you'd have thought Santa Claus had already come in. And it's Dr. Juan. They love him. So you've already got their vote. You know, they're ready to hire you right now to be their foster grandparent. So this I've got for you. But every year he brings such joy to our children. We don't feel like we've got to go and say, oh, kids, go away from Dr. Juan, because he's walking through them. He's patting them on the back. They're loving all over him, and he's loving them right back. So, Dr. Juan, we say thank you. And, you know, there were several things that I wanted to say, but what I want to say more than anything else is how important you are to the lives of our children at Head Start, and how important you've become to all of us. Because we do have children that don't have the Christmases that many of our grandchildren or our own children have. But when Santa Claus walks in with all those presents, I can't tell you the joy that just goes rippling all through that place. So in honor of you providing our Santa Claus for us every year, I've gotten this for you. Simply when you see this every year, you remember that Butler County Head Start loves you very dearly.
You know, I think one of the greatest joys of being alive is being honored by people who love you while you're still alive. Sometimes they wait till later on. But this is a wonderful thing tonight that all of these people have come together for this important occasion. Next of all, I would like to introduce Paul Freeman Annis, and he has some memories to share about Dr. Juan.
Oh, you sick? I make you well. I make you well. 1966. I was a junior in high school. Dr. Juan came to town. I had a spring or something, and we were up there in the old Richard Moore building. And they bring me back there, and he pushed me over in this room. It's got double doors. And he says, sit down, sit down, sit down there. And I looked down there, and somebody's peed all over the bed. And I said, no. He said, I say sit down now. I said, no, Doc, no, no. And finally I tell him, somebody's peeing. Whoa, we not sit down there. But then when he came to town, he brought 2 kids, a wife, and Alan. And then along came Henry and his mother and grandma. He bought a little farm down at Logansport. Grandma loved it down there. My dad and Press Clark went down there occasionally and helped work on the family farm, got the water to running, whatever. But he brings Alan and he buys a brand new 66 or 67 or 68, somewhere in there, Scout from Thurkel truck and tractor. 4-wheel drive. And I graduate and we go to Western. And Alan comes to Western. And Jerry hired Mike and Alan Cardwell and a bunch of us. Shafter buys us a house to live in. And here comes Alan. And here comes the girls. Well, one night these girls were there and they need to go to Scottsville, and it had snowed about 6 inches deep. So we've got Dr. Juan's Jeep Scout, and we take them home, and we take a lot of them home a lot of different times. And sometimes I go into Dr. Juan's office, he says, "Oh, you spent too much of my money. You and Alan, you're going to break me." I said, "Ah, Doc, it'll be all right. We're just having fun." "Oh, no, you break me." But anyway, in 1966, my little brother got ran over. And Dr. Juan said he wouldn't die when everybody else said he would. And he didn't. He lived for 6 more years. And Dr. Juan saved him for that 6 years. He came to the house, he took care of him, and my family was grateful for that. And then in 1987, my boy had Rocky Mountain spotted fever, and he lay in Bowling Green Hospital, and nobody could figure out what was wrong with him. But Dr. Juan didn't give up. He made a lot of phone calls, he done a lot of researching, and he was lifeless. But he stayed with it till he figured out what was wrong with him. And I know that he's done that for others here. Not just my family, but for others. And we've had a lot of doctors. Dr. Miller, that I knew in my lifetime. Dr. Burse. And then came Dr. Juan. And maybe some didn't accept him because he was a foreigner, but it didn't take them long to accept him. Because when you get sick, you'll depend on somebody, and when you've got a good doctor like Dr. Juan, he's been a great doctor, and we have been so fortunate to have had him in our lives. Thank you, Dr. Juan.
All right, you know, we've had some really distinguished speakers tonight, and there's one gentleman here who absolutely loves to say thanks to other people. He's a very appreciative person, and it's Brother David Hawker, who is the pastor at Cumberland Presbyterian Church.
I don't reckon I need that. I don't want to hear the echo. Can everybody hear me? Yes. Okay. I was 13 years old when Dr. Juan came to town. And before he came, my parents would be riding with Richard and Loretta Moore, talking about recruiting a doctor, a second doctor for Morgantown. And he began to tell Daddy and Mama about Dr. Juan. And it wasn't long, Dr. Juan arrived. And I had the pleasure of growing up next to his office. A lot of times I grew up in his office. He's probably one of the most conscientious doctors that I know. He is thorough. Some might say to a fault, but I don't. I say he's very, very thorough. And he was talking to me just last year about going to school, learning something else, about how he had taken some more classes. And what a tremendous mind he does have. The first thing that I got to be able to do for him was I was kind of a geek fiddling with reel-to-reel recorders, and Dr. Juan was so conscientious, when he made a consult, he wanted to make sure that he understood exactly what was said. And so he bought a reel-to-reel recorder, and I went over and hooked up the telephone wires. And if he was making a consult, a lot of times he would ask me to come, and I'd come over, and somebody put the call through. I might even put the call through. That's pretty cool for a 14-year-old kid at that point. But he would listen and listen and listen over and over to make sure he got it exactly right. Now, I could tell Dr. Juan's stories until the cow comes home, but I'm not going to. This man loves his family. Being the gregarious person that I am, and nurses being somewhat attractive, and me single at the time, I started a conversation with them, and they said, "You know, he's our doc." I said, "Oh, you catch him as he comes through and get him to write you a script for antibiotics or something?" No. If we've got something that we can't figure out what is wrong, we go to him, because he will stay on it until he finds the diagnosis. When you go to see Dr. Juan, he wants to know about you and your family. I doubt that there's somebody in this room that he can't talk about your children or your parents, because he loves people so very much.
Now we have one of the very sweetest ladies that I've ever met in my entire life, and she won't care if I say that probably. I'd like to introduce Miss Iris Moore, who is a former employee of Dr. Juan.
I started to work for Dr. Juan about 2 weeks after he came to Morgantown. So we do have changes. And with Dr. Juan, yes, he has changed some too. And when he first came to town, it didn't take me long to realize he needed some changes, because I could not understand him. He did not know how to talk. And, you know, but it didn't take him long to learn the English language. And I can say tonight that, you know, he has the talent to show you all that, and I believe he's going to use it tonight to show us what a beautiful voice he has. But I appreciate everything that Dr. Juan has done for me and for Butler County, and I appreciate the opportunity to have been with him all those years and work for him and for the people of Butler County. But Dr. Juan, he has, you know, when he told me he was retiring, yes, I was upset. And I know that a lot of people here in Butler County was, because we hated to see him go. But, you know, on the other hand, I'm glad he is. Dr. Juan deserves this retirement. He has spent his life for Butler County. And he did it because he loves the people of Butler County. And that's one thing that will never change. Some things never change, and that's one of them. He will never change loving the people of Butler County and want to do for them. And I just thank God for him, and I thank God that, I pray that God will just watch over him and give him the peace and the rest and the happiness that he deserves. Thank y'all.
You know, we've had some distinguished folks up here tonight, but probably none even more distinguished than our next speaker, a Butler County boy whom I'm sure saw Dr. Juan on a regular basis. His mama would have seen to that. School Superintendent Scott Howard.
Well, first, just let me say what a great honor it is to be placed on the program tonight for what we know is just a great person. What he's done for Butler County we'll never forget. When Peggy, well, actually Mom called me and said, Peggy wants to know if you'll say a few words, and there was just no way I could say no, because it's twofold. I'm speaking tonight as a superintendent, but I have so many childhood memories of Dr. Juan's office. My mom worked there for several years, and the goodness that he showed my family, I'll never forget that. of what Dr. Juan has given to the school system over the years, there's just no way to do it, but it's literally in the thousands of kids that he has seen and not charged a red cent. So for that, on behalf of our school board members and the Butler County school system, I want to say thank you. God bless you for what you've done for our school kids. I do have one story I want to share. I think I've said it before. I think my mom's probably different than anybody in the room. If anybody can match it, you can tell me after. But when I was born, I'm fixing to be 47 years old. My dad was in the United States Army. So the Army paid for all of my delivery. When my brother was born, Dr. Juan delivered him and gave my mom $25. Now, if anybody can make money off having 2 kids, it's my mom. God bless you, Dr. Juan. I love you.
You know, these stories tonight are amazing stories about an amazing person. And speaking of amazing persons, now I have known this lady a while. She got her start, as I recall, at the nursing home. She was an excellent employee. She's gone on to better herself to the highest degree and has worked for Dr. Juan for a good while. A lovely person, if there ever was one. Miss Donna Embry. And she's representing the employees of Dr. Juan.
First of all, I'd like to say that I can't talk without crying. I'm sorry. Dr. Juan's the kindest man I believe I've ever known. I've known him my whole life. I can remember as a child. That's where you went when you were sick. And I hated to go because I knew there'd be a shot. And when I got to high school, he always lent us the yard. When it came float time around homecoming and Christmas parades, we would place bets on who could get over there fastest and asked to use his yard to build their float, because it was a huge place to build a float. And you could get out easy. And he always let us do it. He listened to us holler and hoot till 11 or 12 o'clock at night to get ready, and he didn't care that we were messing up his whole yard. And then I went to school and I became a nurse, and I went to work, and you never got yelled at. And I love doctors, but sometimes they can be a little temperamental. But he never was. I was never afraid to call him about anything. I never felt like I could ask him a stupid question, because he would answer it. He may laugh at me, but he never said, "This is a silly question." Then I went on and I became a nurse. A nurse practitioner, and I went to work for Dr. Juan. And he taught me some valuable lessons. But most of all, he loves people. And he loves children. And you walk in a room, and a child's in there, he lights up. It's just like a Christmas tree. He loves kids. And he loves elderly. And that's my favorite. I love elderly, and I love children, but my compassion is for elderly. And he's always taken very good care of everyone that I've ever known. And I think about, the lesson he taught me most. I never understood why he always gave kids shots. And when I came to work for him, he said, "Donna, give them a shot." And I'm like, "I don't want to." But if you didn't give them a shot, they were back in the next week, because either they refused to take the medicine, they couldn't get, for whatever reason, they did not get well. You give them a shot, 2 days later they're fine, and they don't come back and see you for a while. Mothers are happy, everyone's happy. So I learned that I had to give them a shot. And I think about all that he's given. And when I came to work for him, I never realized how much he gave until I came to work for him. He was always there before I was in the morning. He was always there when I left. And I knew that when I left, he was going to go to either a nursing home or he was going to go to a hospital. And he would be there till 12, 1 o'clock in the morning. He would go home, get a couple hours sleep, and he would go back and start it all over again. And never in all the years that I've known this man has he ever been hateful about that, If I only got 3 hours sleep, I would not be a person you would want to have to deal with on a daily basis, and he was never that way. And there were some nights he may not have ever went to bed, but you couldn't tell it by looking at him. He went into every room and took care of everybody as though he was the freshest person. And he never really was. He was a 24-hour doctor. He didn't care to go to your home. He didn't care what he did. And I respect that so much. And he gave to the staff that he worked for, that worked for him. If you worked for him, you had free medical care. And if he could help you in any way, he did. I think I'm going to miss that most. His ability to just, whatever you want, okay, you know. And Butler County's losing a wonderful doctor. And I'm not losing a friend, but I am losing a colleague and a partner. And I will miss that. But on behalf of Juan's Medical Clinic, we'd like to present you with this award. It's a plaque, and it's just generally in appreciating 48 years of service.
This is probably an honor that I certainly do not deserve, but I know that everyone in this room wants to rise to their feet to honor one of the greatest men of medicine, and especially in Butler County. Let's give him a thunderous round of applause. Dr. Richard T.C. Juan.
Friends and distinguished guests and patients, I'd like to say thank you for coming and sharing this time with me. This may surprise you. A member of the Juan family has been in America for 160 years. In 1860, my great-grandfather came to the United States to help build the Pacific Railroad. As you know, this was the western portion, and western portion to build portion of the transcontinental railroad that united eastern and western United States. My grandfather worked in San Francisco during the First and Second World War. Some of you know my father, Henry. He was a lawyer and school superintendent in Canton, China, before coming to America. My mother, Doris, was a school teacher before coming to America with my father in 1956. They started Juan's restaurant, House One, in 1970 in Bowling Green, Kentucky, and operating for many years. Behind every success person are people that assist and encourage them. I lived with my grandmother and Uncle Peter in China and continued in school after my parents came to America. Uncle Peter was a test evaluator in Canton, China. My grandmother and Uncle Peter and his wife later unite with me in Morgantown. They are buried in Morgantown Cemetery along with my mother and father. In 1962, I accepted a position in a large hospital in Canada. In 1963, I came to University of Louisville Medical School to become a pediatrician. In 1966, Richard Moore and USA Representative Stubblefield came to Louisville and asked me to come to Morgantown and establish a medical practice. In the 1960s, practice medicine in Butler County was almost a 24 hours a day work job. I make house calls. I deliver baby. And I work in nursing home. I saw patients in the hospital. I keep our clinic open 6 days a week. And I saw emergency at night and on weekend. I had a great staff and assist me to help me. I love what I was doing, and the people of Butler County were great to me. And there are no better people in the world than here in our own hometown. And I love you all. We are meeting here tonight to farewell, as I am retiring from the practice of medicine. Retirement is only in my head, not my heart. My heart will always be with the wonderful people of Butler County and Morgantown. I have dedicated an aspect of my life to medicine. Medicine has been a love affair to me, and I have shared that love affair with the people of Morgantown and Butler County. And over the past 48 years, we have shared much. Our children have grown, our town has grown, and we have grown. As we go our separate way in life in the future, I will never forget you. I will end these comments with words from a very popular song in the past, You Light Up My Life. You have, and you do, God bless you, and goodbye, and I'd like to thank you, all of you here, and my retirement reception, flowers, sponsors from grade school, and everybody in here. You are working real hard for my retirement. God bless you all. Thank you so much, everybody.
All right, before I introduce David Hunt tonight, I want to make sure that you pay attention to the thank yous to Grace Gilbert Clinic, to Five Seasons, Smith Funeral Home, Principal Patrick O'Driscoll, David Hawker, Gina Howard, Melissa Cardwell, Maxine Minton, Bonnie Howard, Iris Moore, and Mary Alice Black. So all these people really contributed a lot tonight, as well as Peggy Embry. At this time, I want to introduce to you a gifted musician who thinks he can't sing or play, and he's mistaken on both counts. David Hunt.